Greetings! Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the opening of the Virtual Southeast Asia Career Fair 2021. My name is Selfin Janita, and it is my pleasure to be your moderator for this morning session. And this event is a joint effort of the Netherlands Education Support Offices, or in short Neso, in Indonesia and Vietnam, supported by the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands and ASEAN Dutch Chamber Network, or ADCN. How are you, everyone? Please, I want to know how you are feeling this morning, and I'm wishing everyone a very good health and a very happy heart. And just before we meet our speakers of the day, let's start with Mentimeter. Our team will provide the Mentimeter link in the chat box. So please click the link, and we also provide you with the passcode. And there will be two questions. It's a very quick questions. And we want to know where you're from and, of course, your working experience level. Okay, Vietnam, good morning to everyone in Vietnam. Greetings from sunny Bangkok. Hello, everyone. From Indonesia, good morning. Good morning to Australia, Jakarta. Greetings from the Philippines. Good morning to Philippines. So happy that we have participants coming from different cities, different countries. Wow. Vietnam, Jakarta, Australia, Indonesia, the Philippines. Anyone coming from Malaysia? From Singapore? From Makassar, Indonesia. Good morning to Makassar. From Siborong-Borong. Good morning. From Ambon, eastern part of Indonesia. Good morning to Ambon. All right, now we are moving on to the next question. What is your working experience level? We provide you with 4 choices: intern or student, fresh grad, entry level, experienced, non-manager, or experienced manager and above. All right, student 6, 7, 7 experienced, non-manager, okay. Well, we're so happy, more than 34 and more to come, I'm very sure. And of course, I believe that you know that we have a very interesting lineup of speakers, exciting lineup of speakers. And we will have a very rich takeaways from today's session. So feel free to comment, ask questions to our speakers throughout this morning session. All right, so 15 internal students, 13 experienced non-manager, 11 fresh grad or entry level, and 7 experienced manager and above. Thank you so much for participating in our quick poll through Mentimeter. Thank you so much. And once again, we are so happy. It is our pleasure to welcome participants coming from different countries within the Southeast Asia and Australia. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Now we would like to start with an opening remark from Ardi Stoios-Braken, Deputy Head of Mission of the Dutch Embassy in Indonesia.
Selamat pagi, assalamu alaikum, good morning to all participants. I hope you're all in good health. I'm honored to welcome all of you in this vibrant community of international minds, Dutch and Southeast Asian companies, as well as international talents in the region, including Dutch alumni. The Dutch Embassy here in Indonesia is proud to support this event as part of our joint efforts in strengthening the economic relation between the Netherlands and Southeast Asia through business partnerships and knowledge exchanges. As you know, the Dutch embassies in the region have been working together to intensify this relation, for instance through the virtual Southeast Asia Business Platform and the virtual trade mission last year. I would like to convey my appreciation for the team of the Asian Dutch Chamber Network, ADCN, Nuffic Neso, and the Netherlands Alumni Network for organizing this event, opening network access between more than 800 talents and innovative companies in this region. This event provides a complete package. Through the matchmaking sessions and the workshops, VSEACF bridges Dutch and Southeast Asian companies to not only meet the top talents, but also to keep up to date with the latest insights on human resources management trends in the region. At the same time, this event provides an opportunity for these top talents to learn from leading experts in discovering the required skills to thrive in this dynamic job market. This combination proves how VSECF goes beyond borders to enable the right matches between companies and talents, in which both can grow and tap into the flourishing opportunities in this fast-growing ecosystem together. This event truly aligns with the mission of our Dutch economic network in Southeast Asia, and it contributes in strengthening our connections to unlock numerous collaboration opportunities between the Netherlands and Southeast Asia. I'm sure that this combination of diverse perspectives and know-how is the recipe to successfully accelerate sustainable solutions in tackling our shared challenges. Thank you once again. Terima kasih banyak for organizing and participating in this event. For all of you, bright talents and companies representatives, I wish you all the best in finding the right connections in shaping your future career as well as excelling your journey in this market. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you so much, Ms Ardi Stoios-Braken, for the opening remark, and to highlight one of her statement that today's is a very good opportunity to learn from the top talents to thrive in the job market. So that's why you have to treasure today's opportunities. So please make the best of today's session. Ask as many questions as you want, or you maybe want to share your concern or comments, feel free to do it. Okay, next, I would like to welcome Mr. Guido van Rooy, the Executive Director of the Dutch Business Association Vietnam, to give an opening remark.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Guido van Rooy and I am the Executive Director of DBAV, the Dutch Business Association Vietnam. And I'm also the rotating chair for ADCN, the ASEAN Dutch Chamber Network. And in that capacity, it is my honor to welcome you all to the Southeast Asia Virtual Career Fair on this beautiful Saturday. The role of the ADCN in this event is to connect businesses to talented individuals. Either you will be here as a business or you will be here as an individual looking for a job. In both cases, I hope that you will have a very successful day and that you will be able to find a great opportunity. The ADCN is active in Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore and the Philippines, and as such we are very proud to be a co-host of this fantastic event. Again, I wish you a very fruitful day and with hopefully many interesting business connections to come. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guido van Rooy, and we thank once again the ADCN for the support you give for today's event. And last but certainly not the least, I would like to welcome Mr. Peter van Tuijl, the Director of Nuffic Neso Indonesia, followed by Ms. Nguyen, the Chief Representative Officer of Neso Vietnam, representing the organizers of the virtual Southeast Asia Career Fair to deliver their welcoming remarks.
Good morning, my name is Peter van Tuijl. I am the Director of Nuffic Neso Indonesia. Happy to welcome you in this Southeast Asia Job Career Fair. Most of you have studied or are about to finish your study, and if you have completed your studies, you want to do something with it. Today might be your opportunity to find an interesting new job. I want to thank the 14 companies that have already registered in this event and all of the other collaborating partners and sponsor partners. We are very happy also to work with our alumni. Some of them are here in startups, some of them work in big multinational companies. So we cover the broad scope of the labor market. We are Nuffic Neso Indonesia. We collaborate with Nuffic Neso Vietnam and our alumni networks in different Southeast Asian countries to make this event possible. I wish you a very fruitful and enjoyable day and hopefully success. Thank you very much.
Okay, and next.
Good morning, my name is Nguyen, Chief Representative Officer from Nuffic Neso Vietnam. Warmly welcome ladies and gentlemen to the virtual Southeast Asia Career Fair 2021. The virtual career fair with theme Connecting International Minds today aims to create the platform for Southeast Asia employers and the Netherlands alumni, mid-career professional, fresh graduate, and the Thailand students from top university. On behalf of Nuffic Neso Indonesia and Vietnam, we are glad to organize this fair with the express appreciation to the support from ASEAN Dutch Chamber Network and the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Indonesia and Vietnam, and especially the participating companies. After the opening remarks, there will be a variety of activities such as panel discussion, roundtable, one-on-one matchmaking between recruiters and job seekers, and 3 workshops to support you in the successful job search. Come and join with us to discover the best approaches to meet your future career. I hope you all enjoy the events and wishing you many more successes to come in business and career. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter van Tuijl and also Ms. Nguyen for your remarks. Okay, now let's move on to the next part of this morning's session, which is the panel discussion. And I'll be introducing you to the exciting lineup of speakers from Southeast Asia who will share their insights and experiences on how the employment landscape in Southeast Asia region has changed over the years and what skills needed by job seekers in the region to fit and thrive in a very competitive job market. And once again, I would like to remind you that if you have any question to the speakers, please use the chat box or Q&A feature, and please feel free to ask questions or comments or your concerns throughout the discussion. And we will discuss your questions throughout the discussion, and I'm sure your questions will be also helpful to enrich our discussion this morning. Okay, now please allow me to introduce our 3 speakers. The first one, Ms. Nandia Karina, founder and Chief Executive Officer of Virtue Consulting Partner. Good morning, Ms. Nandia.
Hi, Selvin. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
How are you today? We're so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me today. I'm so happy to be here with everybody.
Thank you so much. And next, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Ralph Go, the Corporate Recruitment Lead of Gojek. Good morning, Mr. Ralph Go.
Morning. Morning, everyone.
How are you today?
Very good. Very good.
Thank you
Looks
so much.
No rain and everything, so I'm happy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. We're so happy to meet you. Okay, last but not least, we'll introduce you to Mr. Tran Tan Tam, Clients and Markets Head of KPMG Vietnam. Good morning, Mr. Tam.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's exciting sessions. And I hope you will be enjoying. And if there's any question for me or my fellow panelists, feel free to drop in the chat box.
Yes, indeed. So please don't hesitate to ask questions, since Tom already said, I think we will be expecting more than 200 questions. I hope that's okay to answer hundreds of questions. Okay.
Excited.
Okay. Okay. And also, I hope it's okay to call you by your first name. So it'll be fine if I Miss Nandia Karina with Nandia, Ralph, and Tom.
Perfect.
Okay. So for your information, we will be having two sessions of discussion. The first session for 20 minutes, we will be discussing the employment landscape in Southeast Asia. And after the first session, I will ask our participants, our audience, to participate in a very quick survey. I will give them two quick questions, and then the questions will be pretty much related to our second session discussion about talent pool in Southeast Asia. Okay, and just to start, could you tell us a little bit about your company and your current role? I will start from Nandia, please.
Thank you, Salvin. A little bit about the company that I am leading recently. So I work for Virtue Consulting Partners. It's actually a recruitment service firm. We've been here in technology or digital industry for more or less about 5 years now, but officially just started to separate it with our backup VC since 2019. So it's been like 3 years roller coaster, yeah, for recruitment. And we specialize in digital industry technology company. We have been helping companies from early stage size, and then they grow, and then they become like a unicorn or decacorn company. So it's a fun journey. It's a fun experience if you start early, and then you gotta experience everything from small to big size. Yeah.
Thank you, Nandia. Okay, and moving on to Rolf.
Hello, morning. My name is Rolf Go. I'm an half Indonesian, half Dutch alumni from Holland as well, by the way. I work for Gojek. Gojek is a company that was founded in 2010 in Jakarta, first unicorn in Indonesia, starting from very small as a call center even, until now. We just recently had a merger with Tokopedia, forming the group GoTo. And also being the first company in the world with an all on-demand financial and e-commerce services under one umbrella. So first one in the world, meaning that there's a lot of, we are basically pioneers, right, in all that we do. There are no test cases. We are going to be the test case, I guess. So that is very exciting. We aspire to be a lifestyle app where you do anything that you do on a daily basis on our app. Besides being a massive business, I think what is very important for people in Gojek is a bit of idealism in terms of bringing prosperity to society. As we could see from, let's say, ojek drivers or small business owners who came from, let's say, daily incomes to now monthly incomes, can plan their lives, bringing a lot to society. Very important for us. My role in the company is the corporate TA lead. So I'm hiring from fresh grads until senior levels, all positions under products like transport, food, logistics, now and so on, right? And all the enabling functions. So enabling functions are like risk, finance, marketing, strategy, and so on and so on. And the teams that I'm handling is Indonesia, Singapore, and Vietnam. Very happy being in the company, very happy being here. Would love to answer all kinds of questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rolf. And please, Tam.
Right, thank you, Sophie, and very pleased to meet you all this morning. So my name is Tam, and to be honest, I actually accepted invitations to join this panelist as a alumnus in my first role. So I used to study and work in the Netherlands until I returned to Asia, Southeast Asia, back in 2010. So my other role, which I'm kind of sharing my experience with all of us here today, is probably right now I'm the head of clients and markets for KPMG in Vietnam and Cambodia. So I do not think we need a lot of introductions about KPMG, you know, being one of the big four, having our headquarters in Amsterdam. And just a little bit of information is that a lot of people is actually knowing KPMG as an audit, accounting, tax firm. But just FYI, we are also one of the largest tax advisory firm, M&A firm, and also a law firm and IT advisory firm in Vietnam. So don't be surprised if you walk into our office and you start to see hundreds of IT developers or lawyers walking around our offices. So, so that's just a very brief introduction about me and my role.
Thank you so much, Tan. All right, so friends, ladies and gentlemen, once we already get to know to the three speakers, I'm so sure that these three people, the right guys to ask questions to help you to prepare yourself to the competitive job market. All right, so let's get started with the first question. In your opinion, how has the employment landscape in Southeast Asia changed over the years? May I start from Rolf?
Sure. I think it changed a lot. Number one, I think, is speed. I think we are now in very much an online era, right? And that brings a lot of speed. The recruitment became a lot faster in terms of process, in terms of how people approach you. Everything is speed, 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 especially with startup tech companies, right? E-commerce like Gojek as well. I think that everybody can say that's a lot faster. I also think that more and more companies are very focused on their employer branding. In previous times, maybe there was a little bit of employer branding, but not as much focus on it. Now it is very important. It's much more competitive. Therefore, I think it's very important as a company to know, like, who are we? What do we stand for? What kind of employer do we want to be? And what is our culture? And along with that, it is very important now for companies to actually profile as well. So not just saying like, okay, who are we, but who are the people that we are looking for? How do we assess that? How do they, fit with our culture? How can we see that, right? Then I think the turnover, the attrition rates are a little bit higher. Not because we are doing bad as employers, but I think just the world become a little bit faster, right? So what it means is, like, in the old times, I'm not going to say what the old times are. I don't want to reveal my age here. But in the old times, it used to be 4 to 5 years is kind of the norm for, having a stable CV, right? Nowadays, I think 2 to 3 years is already something that people say, well, okay, we're good with that. It's also becoming a little bit more messy, I feel. A lot of companies do their own thing, in a way good, but it also means that there's a lot of exaggeration of job titles. It makes it a bit unclear, I think, for maybe even job seekers, but also employers. And then I think the last piece, and that comes along also with, I think, the tech, is that you can find nowadays a lot of information on companies. So a lot of sources other than the career pages and websites and so on, like LinkedIn, Glassdoor. There's a lot of events like this, for example, right? So there's a lot of opportunities to actually really get to know employers. And therefore, I think it's easier for job seekers to really reach out to certain companies that they really like, and with the right reasons. So and also there's a lot of organizations that we can partner with. Before in TA, maybe max you go to universities. Now you have organizations like YLI in Indonesia, Excel Future Leaders, all kinds of organizations that you can actually do something with. And that makes TA a lot more exciting, I would say. It's not so, like CV comes and goes kind of thing, but you can have a little bit more connection. And that's something I think that changed a lot. All
right, thanks, Rolf. And what do you think about the employment landscape and how it changes? Tan.
Yeah, thanks, Delphine. So just before I go to the questions, I just want to share with you a little bit of sort of many of us actually coming from Southeast Asia today, and you probably experienced. So probably about 20 years ago, when we graduated from universities, we probably have very few options to go. And sometimes, landing a permanent job in a state-owned or state-linked companies is probably satisfy, you, yourself, and also your family, right? Things have changed quite significantly, what I'm seeing. So so I'm speaking from the employer perspectives. we started to see a lot of our younger generation, Gen Y, Gen X, even Gen Z in the workforce nowadays, they're not really looking at sort of a stable job employment, you know? So they're looking for opportunities. They're looking for new things to try. And doesn't matter whether people are looking at our region as, you know, a developing or underdeveloped in some of the countries. Some of our people are actually working in the unicorn companies like Gojek we are having, or some of the global organizations like KPMG nowadays. And we are seeing, you know, also in terms of the regions, the countries, in the past probably 5-10 years, our countries, our nation has been signing a lot of free trade agreements that really bring up our countries and the workforce and also the companies to the international standards. So now we are thinking actually a little bit beyond the country border that we used to be looking at, but now we really international mindset. And we are seeing, you know, as ASEAN as a region has actually allowed, you know, mobility of people. You know, now you can find jobs in other countries, like Indonesian people can come to Vietnam, Singapore, and I myself back in 2010, I was actually working in Indonesia, in Jakarta and Wayang Windu. So I think that's sort of the thing that we got to think of. Our career, the job market is no longer sort of being narrow, or there's a line and say, you know, you shouldn't be doing this or you shouldn't go there. The other thing is, if you're looking at, I'll just give you an example in the environment of KPMG. You know, 25 years ago, when we established our operations in Vietnam and Cambodia, 99% of our people are either having an accounting background or tax background. Today, you know, the accounting and tax background is still form one of the largest business we are having in the KPMG world. But we start to say, you know, we are employing engineer, even from healthcare life sciences, which this is my background, right? And we have IT engineer. We have people from NGO, aviations, agriculture, from the banks. They are coming and join us and really form the workforce. And I believe that's the workforce of the futures. Because for company like KPMG and other multinational organizations, we actually shifting our focus beyond a single sort of issue focus into a more holistic on how to help clients. So that actually trigger and motivate and drive the employment markets that we are really looking at diversities and inclusions in our workforce today. So that's just some of the sharings, and that's how we are seeing it. And tech is definitely one of the great things. But again, beyond that particular tech transformations, people are also having a look at, you know, how do I meet international standard? Right now, company is actually operating beyond borders.
Okay, thank you, Tan. Very interesting. And I'm sure what Rolf and Tan just said pretty much covers everything. So I'm sorry, Nandia, to give you the last shot. Please go ahead.
Yes, you're right, Salvin. I mean, thank you, Rolf and Tam, right? You covered most of the points that I believed it's important for us to discuss today. Yes, there is like a big shift in terms of talent market and the landscape itself. From the way I sit in, right? Just to recap a little, because I worked for agency before, and then I joined a banking company, which is very traditional, like systematic. There is like a very, you know, like right and wrong kind of system. And then I moved to a VC company whereby I, on a daily basis, I met founders. They just started like only 2 to 3 people in the team. I helped them from the very groundwork to like, you know, they became now like unicorn or decacorn. That's how they call it. And then during those years, right? Again, it's like the way we actually do hiring, talent mapping, and so on and so forth, is we kind of ask first, like what is the needs and what is the company needs, and sort of helping the talent who is ready to join those companies to fit in. So the question is more of like mix matching in a sense where we kind of help the alignment between talent and companies. it's no more a traditional whereby when I was in a bank, right? Like the interview, how it went, it's mostly like, okay, we need, like, for example, finance manager, and we interview based on skills and competency, and if it's fit, then that's it, you can just join the company. But nowadays it's more of like asking what your career aspirations is, and then like what is the company needs, and then what we can do to actually match between this, like goals, between individual goals and then company as a whole, right? So a lot of factors that has been changed, and I think the key is to keep adapting to these changes, and then at the same time to keep yourself like personal growth consistent, and keep learning along the way. That I think that's what I capture, adding what Ralph and Tom has discussed before. I think that's pretty much, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we agree on one point where it changed a lot,
Yeah.
and in a very fast speed, very rapidly, and it's very important to keep up, whether to what the companies need, what do you think is relevant, your skills, and what to look for. And yes, we are going to discuss further about it. And as an experienced professional, how do you see your position or your current role changes over the years? Or maybe you want to link it to your previous career background or your previous role. And again, how technology is changing the nature of your job. And we're talking about the fourth industrial revolution that we're having right now. May I start from Nandia now?
Okay. Right. Thank you. Okay, if we're talking about IR 4.0, right? If I'm not mistaken, I'd like to like summarize everything in my like view, right? It's more of like how nowadays talents and organizations, firms, like working side by side, literally, and shaping what do you call the talent market, the talent industry. And now talent is for Southeast Asia alone. I mean, I'm not talking the world right now. I'm talking like only specific Southeast Asia, based on the view that I have. It's a like many investors from around the world came into, for example, Southeast Asia, or in particular Indonesia, and that makes like a lot of like a business open, and then small startup raising, and then like middle also raise. That case, I have realized that we need more supply than the demand, because the demand is there, right? So this is the current like situations that we face from time to time, and it's kind of different for me. It's a good thing because it means that business is growing, but then there is another homework that we gotta like really put concentrations or focus on, which is like on the supply side. This is what internally we've been speaking with a couple of players in the market, and then really think about how we can help with it. So so the supply is one, and then another one is some of the positions that are hot in the market also kind of change from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Cannot agree more. And Ralph, please.
Right. So I think the role as a TA, it changed a lot. One thing, I mentioned it before as well. I think it's more and more about how you sell yourself as an employer. So it has a really high focus on a term called the Applicant Journey, which basically means that, the moment that somebody has interest in your company until, let's say, if that person goes through a process of interviews, we want that person to have a fantastic feel with the company. Whether that person get hired or not is not important, because somebody that maybe not get hired in this time span can be hired in the future, right? And we want that person to always think back about Gojek like, wow, I'm impressed with that process. I did not feel like a number. I felt like a person. I got good feedback, and so on and so on. that is something that I see more and more companies doing so, besides the employer branding, which is kind of, it links, but it's not the same thing, right? And I think that is really good, right? It kind of increases the quality of recruitment, which is a little bit different with before, where the employer was a little bit more like, I'm the employer, I got a job for you, take it or leave it. And where job descriptions and company descriptions were very generic, I cannot really distinguish one company from another. But for example, and now I speak about tech companies because that's now kind of my field, right? I can really see that people are trying to distinct themselves, right? They don't want to be called in the tech group, but they really want to show themselves, like, who are we, what do we do, what do we stand for now, and so on. Then I think it, in line with that, I think it's more about now it's more about the motivations and aspirations of candidates, of people looking for jobs. Again, I think the competition on the job market is good for job seekers. It treats them more as an individual. And yeah, like I said, now it is very important to have the right match, not just a match, not just somebody that can do skills, but it needs to fit like a family, something like that, right? So I think that is a big change as well. And the last one is more on a day-to-day basis. Nowadays, I think a lot of companies, well, especially tech companies, we use a lot of tech even within the TA, right? And that's a big difference, because before, when I started, maybe maximum we had an ATS, an applicant tracking system, right? Where you kind of a software where you put the interviews in and the feedback and whatnot. Now we got data software like Tableau, Power BI, and so on, and we work with those. You work with Asana, you work with Slack. Like me myself, I cannot live without Slack anymore. I do everything on Slack. Everything is online, right? So it's a big difference with the old TA job, where I think there's still a lot of companies in Southeast Asia that used to work with a lot of paper, CVs that is being passed on. It changed a lot. What I like is because it's online and you can reach out to people a lot more. So it's very easy to make the connection. You just need to put a little bit of effort in it. But it's very good. You can really hear it's not top down anymore, right? It's not just employer talking to people. Oh, could you possibly work for me? But it goes bottom up as well. I think that really fits with our culture as well. I think as a young startup company. But it's always also very interesting if you're on TA, that you don't just see a CV passing by, but you really see a person, right? So I think those are the major changes for me as in the role of a TA. It is much more interesting. I hope more to come. You never know what happens, right, in the future, but it's much more a people's job than before, and that is what I like the most about the changes.
And the changes in one way or another means also it's easier both for the job providers and also the job seekers. And 10, we want to know from your perspective.
Thanks, Selfin. I think what Nandia and Ralph mentions, I think is really the realities of today. So I'll just share with you my experience is that, if we are looking at sort of industry 4.0, digital transformations, how technology is actually changing lives and the business operations of almost every single industries out there. So at KPMG, the business of KPMG is all about helping clients solving their problems. So with that particular sort of industry 4.0, so our role is actually, be helping advising companies and say, how is that impacting your business? What kind of transformation changes that you need to bring in? And what kind of people that you need to actually helping you successfully through that particular journey? Even though technology is solving a problem, but again, it's the underlying operations of it is actually the people, still the people. And doesn't matter if we are investing millions or billions of dollars on an infrastructure and IT infrastructure. But if the people, they don't use it, they don't understand why they are using it and how they make the best out of the technology, I think those investments will go to waste. And that's sort of one of the pain points that we are seeing across a number of sectors, even in our clients or in some of the organizations out there. In the world of KPMG, 5 years ago, we also, I was in a management meetings, and we actually have sort of the very top leadership in KPMG was talking about how is digital transformations going to disrupt our big four industry, and how are we going to manage it, right? So that leads to sort of a number of initiatives that we need to do. Some we have a global initiative, some we actually have very locally driven initiatives. So again, I'm going back to my introductions. I used to be an engineer by educations, and then I used to work for a few Dutch hospitals in Amsterdam, in Nijmegen. And then I did my MBA. I returned to Southeast Asia. I worked in a number of countries, and then I joined KPMG. And I have seen that particular industry 4.0 has changed the industry and myself, my roles. So right now, part of my time is sort of leading an initiative that helping KPMG to stay competitive within the industry that's going to be driven by technology change. So how are we going to survive? What else should we be doing in order to make our clients see the difference in KPMG digitally? I think that's all in the game for everyone and in the workforce. And for that, we also look at people who are tech savvy, who understand, not just the social media landscape, but also, someone who understands what the metaverse is all about. That's going to be the big thing. It's going to be the new thing. But again, it's all in the mindset, and it's all how people see what's the future brings.
Okay, thank you, Tan. Very interesting. Okay, now we have to wait a moment. Now I want to ask questions to our audience. I have two questions. So before we move to the second part of the discussion, I will invite everyone here to participate in a live polling. We have two questions, and please select one answer. You can also type the reason why you select the answer in the chat box, okay? And if you want to elaborate more on how you feel about your answer, please do. Okay, the first question, what aspect of job hunting do you find to be the most challenging? We have 5 options here: finding job opportunities online, network effectively, CV and cover letter writing, and interview. And also negotiating salary and benefits. The second question, what do you look for when applying for a job? Flexible work arrangements, opportunity to progress or be a leader, good salary and benefit, professional development training programs, or good company culture. Okay, top choices. Since I think everyone might want to choose more than one answer. Okay, I will give you 2 to 3 minutes to answer the poll. And okay. And of course, I will ask Nandia, Ralph, and Tan to also give advices, give to what you have to say about the 2 questions we give during the quick poll. And if you have any comment, please go ahead. Okay, and now I'm checking to the Q&A box. So far, we have 12 questions, and
I thought we were going to get hundreds. That was promised.
We are expecting. I meant it's 12,000 questions.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
You got 36,000 answers.
Okay, and we apologize in advance to our friends here if we do not have the time to answer all questions. I'm very sorry, but please feel free to give us more questions. Okay, don't hesitate. Okay, now I can see from the quick poll. Okay, now I think we are going to end the poll so we can see the result. Okay. Okay, Rolf, Nandia, and also Tan, can you see the result?
Yep.
On your screen? Yes. Okay, so it seems that, okay, very competitive result. The first question, it's what aspect of job hunting do you find to be the most challenging? Okay, and 57%, they say it's the interview part. Well, what do you think? Nandia, Tan, Ralph? I may start from Ralph.
All right. I understand that part for interviews. And obviously, I think we all have been in everybody's shoes, especially as a new job seeker. Interview is just very hard. I think what is very important with anything in life is that you get better in interviews the more you do it. So my first advice would be, especially if you're a new job seeker, go into interviews and kind of find out what is on the market. Don't be too broad. You need to kind of know what you're looking for and what kind of company, right? And then you kind of pick the companies. Okay, these companies could be interesting, but don't be too critical, right? Just try to be open-minded. I can speak for myself. When I was in college, I was telling my friends, we told each other basically, we said we are never gonna end up in the financial world, banking, insurance. That's not my thing. And I guess it's karma or something, but my first job was in Allianz Insurance. And the reason for that is because I just wanted to see it for myself. I heard a lot of stories, and I don't think that is how it works. You need to figure things out for yourself first, and then you can only do that by meeting people, hearing what they have to say, and see if that fits with yourself. For interviews, what I always tell, when I interview people and I find out that they're a little bit nervous, I always tell them, like, just be yourself and nothing can go wrong, right? You're the only person that knows how to be yourself. And if you're truly yourself, like 100% in an interview, and let's say it doesn't work out, there's no harm in it, right? Because you've been 100% yourself, didn't work out with the company, maybe for whatever reason they didn't see a fit. But if it's not a fit, it's better that you work somewhere where people see you as a fit. And if it does work out, it's even better because you're 100% yourself. You didn't lie, you didn't, oversold yourself, So it means that you are fit for the job, and it means that you're gonna have fantastic time with that company, right? So you should always see that as I always like to see people are very genuine. That just sometimes they just honestly say, I don't know the answer to the question. That's fine. We don't have all the 100% scores needed or something. So I think that is the most important thing. Don't trial too much, I would say, because it becomes a bit plastic, a bit fakeish when people do that. And especially do not try to Google answers on the internet. It feels really awkward, and usually interviewers can tell that is not really your answer, and it makes you not stand out, right? It makes you part of the maybe thousands of other people who also do that.
Yeah.
And what is important in an interview is not for you to give the right answers. It's to show who you are. And again, actually, that should be simple, right? If you can see it when you're in a party, you meet new friends, and then you introduce yourself. You're not gonna tell all kinds of fun stuff that you find on the internet. You're just gonna show who you are. Yeah. And as soon as you do that, and then you hopefully your nerves will go down as well, and that will happen over time. I promise you on that. You'll get better and better, and then I think this 57% will go down to maybe 10%. I hope.
Thank you, Ralph. Very insightful. And Nandia, since I'm sure you need to recruit lots of people. You have done lots of interviews, right? So any advice?
Right. Okay. So Ralph was right and completely right with everything. I'd like to add some more to it. So yes, that's true. When you're in the interview, you should be yourself. And let me elaborate on that. Most people, they will check like what is the company does, and like who is the key players inside the company, what is job descriptions and so on. I'm a recruiter myself and handles multiple brands at the same time, multiple businesses at the same time. I think the key is to prepare yourself, not to prepare about the company. It's more of like before you enter the interview, you know what you want to get, you know what you are good at, and then you sort of like build what kind of dream that you want to achieve, right? What kind of dream that you want to realize. What kind of like dream that you want to build. And as far as the good interview will happen, it will discuss more about like your goals, your career goals, and then how like the process, why you want to achieve that goals and so on. And by that discussions, from that discussions, we as a recruiter, we can along the way think about what kind of positions that match with what you're good at, what you're comfortable with, what kind of dreams that you are aiming, what kind of dream job, dream company, dream team. This goes along the way when we discuss things with you. The many issues that I face like on a very practical base is I often find that candidates will sometimes they don't know what they want to do, that like they don't know what they want to achieve. It's not about the positions itself. I mean, positions we can actually, in technology industry, sometimes it's a new position, something that you've never heard before, and these companies, they come up with like certain positions, and I've never learned that positions also before. So it's kind of hard when if like you are in an interview and then the talent, they don't know what they want to do and what they're good at. The informations about the company, yes, it's just a default, like it's a must thing to do before the interview, but then it's more important to me to understand really about yourself, like what do you want to do, and then what you're good at, and what kind of things that you want to get, like experiences, potential, mentorship, and so on and so forth. So I guess my suggestions, my advice is more of like understanding what really layers about yourself before even starting to apply your CV to companies. I asked a couple of candidates, fresh grads or maybe professional hire, like how like some of like the details on their CV, and most of them also sometimes they cannot answer why it's there in the CV. So I guess more on and more. I mean, it's different with like professional hire, high level positions, senior hire. It's kind of different the way we interview those levels, but I guess it's first thing first is really know what you want to do.
Okay. Yes, so it's important to know what you want before you come to the interviews. Thank you so much, Nandia and Ralph. And the second question, what do you look for when applying for a job? And it looks that the opportunity to progress or be a leader is the most voted answer. Very ambitious in a very good way. Okay, and when we talk about you're looking for the opportunity to progress or be a leader, I think it has a lot to do with your skills, how well you do the job, right? And when we talk about the skills, and now I think the job seekers and also the job providers also facing skill gaps or skill shortages or skill mismatch. And let's discuss about this skills mismatch. So Tam, what do you think is lacking in the current talent pool, both in fresh grad and experienced professional? Please.
Thanks, Selfin. So just to mirror the last answer, the last comment by Nandia. So I remember when I was a undergrad student in the Netherlands. So I applied for an internship positions in one of the reputable institutions. And so I believe I did all the research, I talked to people, I know the job roles very well. So I went to that interview very, very confidently. And I believe I did a good, very, very good job. In the end, I didn't landed the jobs there, right? Everybody failed. But then, after I look back and I talked to a couple of people, there was one single question that the employer at the time asked me. Okay, so Tam, I know that you're really excited for these positions, but Tom, we also have another positions which I think you might be a good fit. Are you interested? So I think, naturally I say, yes, I could do anything. And I believe that actually was, the pitfall, really the mistake that I made. because I actually walk in, I prepare very well for one role, and then, you know, I say, yeah, I love the other role also. And you know, that's also, you know, in the end, it's really confused my employers what I really want to do in that particular organizations. The reason why I know that reason is that 2 years later, I reapplied for that particular employers. I got in, and I actually had a chance to talk to the one who interviewed me before. So now really looking at the skill gaps. So I think, you know, if you're looking on the internet and you are attending a lot of conference and you're seeing, you know, people are talking about skill gaps. So the question is, are we going to solve it? I think skill gaps will always be there, right? And because the market is changing, you know, today you wouldn't know how tomorrow will be like, right? Yeah. And employers, organization will be looking at completely different things, because companies and businesses will have to adapt with the change in the markets, what their customer require and expect from them. And this is sort of in turn will be translating into sort of a skill or competencies that will be looking for people, staff that will be working within our organizations. So skill gaps will always be there. If you look at sort of the disparities that we are seeing in across Southeast Asian countries, if you look at the sort of the developed countries like Singapore, you know, people are talking about, you know, how well Singapore are doing digital transformations, but still Singapore is still importing skills and resources and the workforce from other countries to do the job in Singapore, and vice versa. Countries like Vietnam and Indonesia has been long sort of competing based on sort of, you know, labor cost and also manufacturing. You know, this is what foreign companies are looking at us. And this is what we are very proud of ourselves. But at the same time, we're also looking to add more value to the value chains, to the industry, and to our clients at large. So addressing this skill gap, I think it's very different between sort of a junior candidate or a senior candidate. So we need to make very clear where we are in terms of the employment process. But I think there's a strong linkage between the first question and these questions. Yeah. And I know that what I experienced, you know, a lot of people actually come to me asking for career advice. And I noticed one thing, that the young generations nowadays, they are really looking at how to make their CVs as impressive as possible. University students in their free time, they try to be part of a lot of sort of social organizations, or they're trying to work out a certificate, you know, professional certificate like CPA, CFA, whatsoever, and they try to make their CV stand out of the crowd. But what they're really forgetting about the whole sort of employment environment is that you are trying to make yourself a number, a piece of paper, and you believe by putting a lot of experience on that piece of paper, you are differentiating yourself in the eyes of the employers. You are forgetting that the interview that you are making, you know, one of the biggest challenge in the previous polls is actually a human-to-human interactions, right? So my question to all of you, really relate yourself. How many times you are making a buying decision that is really a rational buying decisions? You know, do you walk in a restaurant just because they have good food, or because you know the owner of that restaurant and they're giving you a good customer experience, right? So that particular interaction is actually very, very important. That help you to be successful, and not just in landing a job, but also for you to be successful in your career. So that particular skill gap is, again, I think we got to look at, for me, there are 4 different sort of skills or competencies that I'm really looking at the candidates nowadays. The first of all is actually the hard skill. It's actually the background where you learn from any educational institution, whether university, colleges, or vocational training schools, right? So that's the hard part, right? The second one is slightly different, and it's very different expectation between the roles that you are applying for, right? It's the soft skills, right? So if you are basically a developer and you like to work with the computers, the laptops, and you say, you know, just sitting in the room, 4 walls, and that's you enjoy doing just by yourself without any interactions, that's fine, right? But for a different roles, again, nowadays organization is really promoting collaborations. You know, you are part of an organization, you're part of a team, you're working with people. If you think, you know, my client is a computer, my client is a laptop, it's a different story. But again, you are part of a network of people in the society, so the soft skill part is very important. You got to be able to articulate and explain what you are trying to do and what you really want. And it's very, very important. The third area, which is very, very important for me as an employer, is actually an attitude. You know, that is the part where, you know, people really look at, you know, I have a good CV, I have a good educational background, I have good experience, and I'm the best person that you could find in the market. It's fine, right? But your attitude is, you got to be thinking, okay, what is this particular organization needs? Why are you the best candidates that they should be considering? And what kind of value that you're going to contribute to that organizations? And you're not looking for yourself, just, you know, I'm trying to execute the work that the company has been doing in the last 20 years. It's fine, but, you know, it will be very, very hard for you to progress on that particular mindset. And lastly, I really think, you know, right now, nowadays, every candidate got to think about their role within the ESG domains, environmental, social, and governance. And you just don't look for a job that is gonna bring you good salary, good promotions, but you got to ask yourself how you're gonna contribute to the society, to the communities out there, because this is basically the principle of, you know, doing well by doing good. And you got to start that particular mindset very early on in your career in order to progress. And again, you know, just to echo on Ralph's comment, we're not just looking at numbers, right? But we are going to look at the value. Some are very tangible, but also some very intangible. That's how you're gonna contribute to the company, to the organization, and to the community at large.
Thank you so much, Tran. It's very important. One point from you that I need to highlight here is that we do not focus too much on the competition, but also the collaboration, because sometimes collaboration also brings more beneficial impacts to us. Thank you so much, Tran. And now we're moving to answering questions from the participants. The first question comes from Yanuar Kurniawan, and I think I will need Ralph to answer the question. Do the current Indonesian digital skills satisfy or still room to improve? And what will be the skill aspects to be improved? Please, Ralph.
Very good question. I would say averagely in Indonesia, technically is fine. And it's actually good that this question came up as well, because it's quite linked with the previous question, right? The skills that I feel that is lacking a little bit is on what I call bottom-up skills. So what you can see that is changing a little bit, especially Southeast Asia, is where it used to be very much top-down in companies. More and more companies are moving towards bottom-up. And it's not only tech companies. I see that even in big multinational companies that say, well, this is kind of where we want to go to. Now, that requires different skills as well, right? If you are top-down is very easy. Just do what the boss wants, and that's it, right? So very easy to execute. Bottom-up means that you need to do a little bit more than that, because now suddenly the boss can come to your desk and say like, hey, person A, what do you think that we should do? That skill, I think, needs to be developed more. One is being opinionated and able to express what you mean based on examples. The other part is basically knowing not just the what, but especially the why. The why question, I use it a lot in my interviews. So I don't know if anybody in this room has ever been interviewed by myself. And people sometimes find it hard because I'm not specifically interested in the right answers. I'm interested in why do you think so? And let's say if we chose to go to answer A, why not B and C? I want to see the thinking process. why are we going in this direction and not in that direction? And I always ask those questions as well. It is a skill that is not maybe that easy to learn. I think it also comes a bit with the education in Southeast Asia, which is slightly different from, for example, in Europe. Not saying that one is better than the other. I'm just saying that, you know, we can learn from one another, right? Nowadays, if you plan to go to like a bottom-up company, it's very important that you can express yourself, that you can say like, okay, this is my opinion. You cannot just give your opinion. There needs to be something underneath it, right? You need to give the right argumentation. So your logical thinking process needs to be very structured and very understanding. And I think that is very important. And I think in general, because I think globalization is more than ever a fact, right? That is something very, very important, because you will meet people now that do not think the same way as you always, right? You have different angles, different opinions, different views, different cultures. So more and more important to kind of learn to speak for yourself, be opinionated, have a very open mindset, understand what's going on in the world. Why are companies in country A doing it like this, and in country B, they're doing it like that, and both works. So I think that is a skill set that I feel that is, you know, something that is a little bit missing in not only Indonesia, but in Southeast Asia in general. But again, I think the good thing is that it can be easily picked up. This is something that you can learn yourself. You can teach yourself, sorry. So yeah, I think that is technically, I think it's fine. I think technically there's a lot that you can learn still on the job as well. I don't think a lot of companies really hope that you can just do specifically everything that is mentioned in the job description. I think it's much more towards that side. Yeah, so that will be my answer. I hope it answers the question. If not, please let me know.
It answers, Ralph. Lots of points that we have to keep in mind, and also to keep in my notes. Thank you so much, Ralph. And next question comes from Reza, and I think this one is. I think this one I will give it to Nandia. Why some companies HR still thinks that educational background and sometimes never considered to look their job seeker experience? Is there also tips to reduce stress because of waiting the news from companies HR about your job applications? Okay, please, Nandia.
Wow, that's a tough question to answer. Because I sit in the third party angle, right? Sometimes, I mean, I was there inside the principal or the client side. I mean, I work in the bank, as I mentioned, but to be very frank and honest with everyone here, sometimes I gotta ask my clients as well, why you want only top 4 graduate students from like Indonesia universities, or maybe abroad universities, cities, or how they call it, Ivy League, right? This has been about my questions as well. The reason is, this is my my, what do you call, like my summary, like I summarize everything, like the answer from my clients. The reason is, there are probably tons of CVs that come into their table, right? And they have the time, like time sensitivity over there. So what they are trying to do is actually just minimize the time to like choose like 10 candidates from like maybe 100 applicants or maybe 500 applicants. However, I think my answer not answering like all the main factors that need to be answered, but what I'm trying to give more on, like, if you, let's say, not included in those universities that they aim for, again when you write the CV, when you put like everything inside your probably cover letter or maybe in the CV, you got to be sure that you really put notes that, as Ralph said, as Tam said, like, this is who you are and this is the value that you bring to the company. So regardless now what is the education background and so on and so forth, I guess there you're trying to find a match jobs to what you can do and what you are comfortable and confident to do. And if it's not fit and if it's not matched, then it's the same like dating with like, you know, like partners, right? Like you kind of like find your, you know, your matching partners in the long run, because when you join a company, you probably think about building your career there, not only 1 or 2 years, probably more than that. So you got to feel very comfortable in what you do in the long, you know, terms or in the long years. So I would suggest the tips is, first, again, be yourself, be honest to what you want to do, and really find your value and why you're different with, you know, with maybe other applicants, so that when our recruiters or maybe the user choose to interview you, because it stand out, because it's true, because when you join the company, you really can do what you say you can do. Something like that. And to add, I think a little bit more to it, I believe what we need to really put highlights on or focus on is skills and you know, technical skills. It can be learned along the way with your mentor and with your leader, but what really takes time to do or to brush up is actually the soft skill side, which is, it involves your emotional intelligence, it involves your willingness, resilient personally to think about other things, be creative, like consistently, and then think about collaborations, experimenting, and then think about something that probably this company, or maybe like the company as old as like KPMG, who has been there for like years, right? Maybe they have like the BAU and try to do things, other things that maybe the current employees they don't think about, like collaborations, experimenting, and then adaptation, persuasions. All these things like very important. I mean, I'm saying education is important, but then these also are as important as educations that you have on your CVs. I guess that's my comment. I hope
Thank you so much. Very comprehensive, Nandia. Thank you so much. All right. So another question, and I think it's very important. What do you see as future skills and competencies needed by companies? Okay, probably briefly, Tam.
Well, I believe I already said it. The hard skill, the soft skill, the attitude is actually very, very important. But if you're asking for the future, I believe, in the future is given, it's uncertain. We don't know how the future will look like, right? We don't know. Last year, probably about 2 years ago, we wouldn't know that we are working from home, right? For such an extended period. And then the only way for us to catch up with our colleagues is actually through computers. And there's sort of a period of 6 to 10 months that we are not allowed to step outside our homes. So I believe for me, my view is that I think the abilities to adapt to any situations or the circumstances that you are facing in your work, how you are handling it, how do you are adjusting yourself and try to find a solution is actually very important. I think it's either adaptability or agility is actually very, very important nowadays.
Yeah.
And so it's easier for many of you to depict sort of, if you look at sort of how water flow through the rocks, right? And that you would be able, you need to anticipate that there are always obstacles and challenges on your way to the futures. And so if you're trying to limit your options and your possibilities because of your background, of your legacy, of your past experience, and you say, because I did this in the past, so this is my future, it's a straight path, I'm not sure if that's going to be a success for you or it's going to be securing your future. So agility, the ability to adapt to circumstances that even uncertain and unfamiliarized with you is very, very important.
Thank you, Tam. Okay, and last but not least, how can job seekers improve themselves? Please, Ralph.
Okay. I think first thing what is very important is you have to understand that when you meet a company, is that you are basically selling yourself, right? You're bringing to the table, who are you? So, though I previously said, don't talk too much with other people and this and that. But what I think is very important is you have to practice your elevator pitch. So your introduction, right? Who are you? What do you stand for? Just practice it with friends and family. Do it a couple of times so it's really in it. Just needs to be short. Don't make it too long, right? Otherwise, people, it's the nature of people to lose concentration if things take really long. But make sure that you have that. That is one. That is your first part of the interview, right? Then the other part is, what I find very interesting is when people, when they did something besides studying. So, work somewhere doing your study, do a side job, or help your parents if they have their own business, or your neighbor, I don't know, right? Anybody. Take internships when you can, because when you are studying, it's much more theoretical, right? But you need that practical work experience as well. And I think a lot of employers will see that as well. At least they've done this and this and that. So that means that they kind of already know how it is on the working floor. Might not be apple to apple, but at least you are also covering the practical skills that you need in a job. Where in uni, it's much more to theory. And the last one that I find very important, and I know that this is not always an option for everybody, but when you can, go abroad. That's basic. And this is not to promote Nuffic, by the way.
To promote
We're not
tourism,
sponsored.
no?
Sorry about
Yeah.
it. But I do feel that it is very important. And going abroad doesn't mean that that things are better in another country. Don't get me wrong here, because that's not true. Going abroad, let's not forget, also possibly mean that, let's say, somebody from Holland like myself goes to Indonesia, is also going abroad, right? So what I mean is, have that change of environment, have the change of culture, go to a place where things are not the same as what you're used to, because that will truly give you an open mind. You will learn from differences in the world. You will learn from different kind of people. You will learn to work with different kind of people, to live with different people. And especially, it makes you more creative. You will see different ways that maybe doesn't work in your country, but does work in other countries. And then you can kind of see how to bring that back to your home country in a hybrid way, right? Then the other tip is, because what I see a lot is with international students, that they kind of, lucky, they're happy to cling on to people from their own country as well. Please don't do that too much. Make sure that you understand local context. Make sure that you search for the local connections, because once you are abroad, it's very important that you learn something from the country that you're going to. The people that I really like to employ usually is those people that invested in that they went abroad for a while. They just want to learn, right? Again, I'm my biggest acceleration in terms of learnings and understanding is when I moved to Indonesia, because I learned a lot about myself. Coming to a new society, new culture, new language, everything comes in one shot. The same thing, of course, with people going from Asia to Western countries. Everything changes, and it says a lot about how you get through that. And I can see a clear difference between people who have done that and who have not. And then for those who cannot maybe study abroad or do an exchange study, I would even say, like, exploring the world by travel, it opens up your mind. Be very open about that, and I think that will help you a lot. Going into interviews as well, and really kind of like some kind of introspective action that you can kind of see, like, who am I? Believe me, if you go outside of your own country and you are in a new environment, you will learn a lot about yourself. It has its effects to see something different. And I think that is very important and gives you a lot of pluses.
Yeah. And also, to link to what you just said, Rolf, it also means to go outside of your comfort zone. It brings another, another
it brings
exposure.
maturity as well,
Yeah.
right? Because suddenly you're by yourself. You cannot lean on your family, on your friends. And that skill that you grow there is invaluable. And I think a lot of employers are very happy to see that kind of growth. And if you can sell that in interviews by showing basically, make connections, right? When you go to an interview, don't just answer the question, make connections on how that answer makes sense based on facts that you did in your life. Like, for example, I don't know, let's say you say that you're a leader, then you cannot just say I'm a leader. How does that show? So for example, I don't know, right? I'm just making it up, but you can say like, instead of joining a student association, I created my own student association because I saw a need for that and they didn't have it yet. But that is an example of leadership. You don't have to have leadership in a company. If you're a fresh grad, obviously, I hear from a lot of fresh grads, like they're expecting this and this and this from me, but I don't have working experience. So how can I do that? It's a matter of how you look at it, right? Leadership, you don't have to have it in working experience per se, right? You can also show it by other actions that you did during study, during your life, anything else. So if you make those connections, I can guarantee you that your interviews will going a lot better as well. So that's just a small extra tip that I would say is also important.
Thank you so much, Ralph. Okay, so since we have 1 minute left, Nandia, please add your points very briefly.
My point, I guess, to just recap, to be a leader, it takes a lot of factors, not only your education background and skill, technical skills, but also be ready with a lot of other things, such as like accountability. That's very important when you become a leader, because you have your own responsibility and the team responsibility as well. So I guess that's the kind of preparations before you go into that positions. And to just like add some more, like I know there are many job opportunities available, especially during this time, right? Everything is online, but the truth is, as I mentioned earlier, about knowing what you want and never afraid of making mistakes and failure. The underlining here is just how you want to get back up as soon as possible and continue and improving what you failed before. And then persistency also become one of the key in like really grilling what the process and what the things that you want to achieve. So never give up. That's, I think, also important. Just get back up again when you fall. And then self-reflections and stress management, because this time around is pandemic, everybody is experiencing the same situation. So it cannot be quote unquote an excuse anymore. We gotta like trying to experiment what is our strategy in dealing with it. I guess the key is keep on experimenting things, and it's okay to fail, but you learn from there.
Yeah, that's very important. And let's keep in mind that it's okay to make mistakes, since we're all human after all. Thank you so much, Nandia and Ralph, and also Tam. And I'm so sorry, since we have a very limited time, we cannot answer all questions from our participants. And to summarize our discussion briefly, the market changes a lot in a very fast speed, so keep up and stay relevant. And the IR 4.0 brings us to an easier path to find more opportunities available in the market. And all three speakers agree that it's important to know what you want. And also the three speakers said that you have to know what's your motivation and your aspiration when you are finding jobs. And while most participants find the interview part is the hardest part of applying for jobs, Ralph said, just be yourself and don't forget to practice to elevate your speech. And Nandia said, make sure you are what your CV says. It's very important. And Tom said, know your value and prepare yourself with the skills the job requires, both hard skills and soft skills. And last but not least, my last point is it's important to keep your skills relevant and please adapt fast since we are facing more and more uncertain changes to come in the future. Thank you so much, Ralph, Nandia, and Tom. Let's give a big round of applause. Virtual applause for all speakers. Thank you so much. And of course, another big round of applause for our participants for your active participation. Thank you so much, Ralph, Nandia, and Tom.
Thank you.
Really hope to see
Thank
you
you.
again in the future. Take care and stay safe.
Yeah.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, since we have reached the end of today's session, I would like to remind you that there are other interesting sessions in the afternoon, okay? We have roundtable sessions, workshops on personal branding and interview tips, and a special workshop from Data House Asia. So please stay tuned and check our website to see the afternoon schedule. And last but not least, your feedback is very, very important to us to improve our future events. So we kindly ask you to fill out a short survey. You can find the link in the chat box. Please, we really need to know what you have in mind. Please fill out our short survey. Our team has dropped the link, so you can just simply click the link and fill out the survey. Again, thank you all so much. And I really hope to see you once again in the afternoon session. I'm Salvin Janita, and I'm signing off as your moderator of the morning session. Thank you so much, and I'll see you around.